One, two, roll. I shaved. I shaved. I shaved. Shaved my face. Haven't cut my hair still. Finally got that haircut, what, like 3 weeks after I scheduled one. Things around here, it's almost like we lost Wounded Knee in 1970. You can't even walk 15 minutes without getting almost run over by, what, 4 8 lanes traffic same time. you know, like how many cars. It's not like there's just two that pass each other and go back and forth like a roller coaster. It's like there's 700 that go that way and another 450 that go this way, and then the light changes walk, and there's like 15 or 16 that just blow through it anyway, Wow. You had no idea the entire while. Well, I used to live over there, and I've been here for 350 something days now, so there was that, and and then and then I'm gonna check the mirror for a second and say, all right, I know I look like I'm 20 something. Actually, I look like this when I was 13, except for the beard and the neck thing. I didn't. Every time I shave, when I was, well, you heard about how I spent a few hundred days underwater when I was 12. Well, I was actually 11 to 12. I surfaced when I was 12. I never caught cancer. Not a joke. High risk for stage 1, pre-cancer, ran rampant through the town since I was born. Am I eligible for stage 1? At this point, thinking probably no. As far as from tobacco. As far as from power plant and submarine manufacturing facility, it's not stage 1, and it hasn't been. And I was this close when I had what? What was the joke from Austin Powers? He checks the pouch and he goes 1, 2, 3, and he thinks that, and they all laugh, and I didn't get it. Is that because he drank someone's poop with corn in it? There wasn't corn from the first place? Maybe, probably. So I had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess at one point, not a joke. And they just were like, oh, it's an ingrown hair, oh, it's a zit, oh, it's a cyst, it's common, it's common, it's common. And 3 years later, I was still complaining that they hurt severely and could have sworn were attached to something either in the pouch or in my innards somewhere. And they were like, well, let's, and then all of a sudden people kicked down the front door and started like with some weird mapping something, and over the, look inside for whatever kind of anything, and I could have sworn I was on chemo for like 3 weeks. Not a joke. And it wasn't even stage 1. It was this close, and then they backed it down to, you know what, you're fine. You're probably healthy. In fact, you know what, it's not even a fine. It's probably just legal. So, yeah, we'll pay you later. Don't ever accept a bill for that. Not around here, especially if you've been here over a quarter century. Doing your best to take health and things. And I even had an emergency driver's license to distribute radiation medicine in case there was a leak. I'd go and I'd pick it up from somewhere and I'd bring it somewhere else, and then that was that. It's like, I don't drive, but you got your permit, right? Good. And they turned my permit into an emergencies only driver's license that I didn't have a copy of. So, okay. They're like, in case there's any kind of emergency, life threatening for you, your family, or what's more, the community, your neighborhood, your family, friends, etc., do it. Do it, and we got your back, dude. It's like 3 separate military service branches and 4 separate precincts and 4 separate, town/cities and probably county and state approval that pipe down to DC, and they were just like, yep, 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 yep. Anyway, I'm almost 30, and I still don't have a copy of that one. Probably will never get one. I hope to get. What was this again? Oh, I shaved my eyes. There's that song that says, Mexican Americans don't only pick flowers, they like gang fights, and my blue eyes brown, my brown eyes blue, or something similar. An old Cheech and Chong skit. They went to Capitol Theater, Portchester, New York for 420. It was within this past 5 years, and I really wanted to buy tickets. I was in my little tree fort, and I had signs advertised so me and Squirrely could tell, the whole natural world, and all of nature in its purest forms, that, and it hopes to pump up the show and get tickets. So now that that's turning on, I'm going to go ahead and bring this one out, depending on real set. And it's only been about 5 minutes. Good, I hit 15. So yeah, the heat's turning on because it's like freezing and filled with death outside. I'm used to it. But in the apartment, it's nice to be about like 75 degrees. When it drops down to 30 at night, we hit frost a couple. What was that, last week or the week before? We hit frost, um, like an all natural frost, not just frozen car emissions. So it's an all natural frost, um, like within this past 2 weeks. And so I'm assuming, between midnight and sunrise, it's very, very cold outside. Like I said, I'm not allergic to hypothermia. I'm not sensitive to stuff. If it's 0 degrees, and like once it drops down to about between 15 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit or 25 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, all of a sudden I go, it's kind of chilly out here. And if we were in a tundra, I would never know. I just assume it's autumn or like early spring, if we were in tundra sort of things with like evergreens and stuff. I wouldn't even notice till it was about between 15 and negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I could get a little chilly and like try and search for a jacket or build a campfire or something. Now, if I was in the water below 32, I'd still be comfortable, because I'm an adult. The thing is the kids can't go swimming in Scandinavia if the water is below 32. It's bad for their minds. It's confusing. They learn water freezes at 32, but it's 30 degrees and it's not frozen. Don't swim then. It's for adults. It's not that their bodies can't take it. Some of them can't. And if there was mixed bloods or whatever, you don't want someone like, well, I'm mostly Caucasian, but I'm in Sweden, so I'm Swedish, right? No, you have to be Nordic to be resistant to hypothermia. As far as race like that, it has nothing to do with ethnicities. It says it closes, the swimming holes close at 32, and unless you're older, like much older, like a fully developed, fully grown male, then you can go swimming as long as it's over 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Like they say, like normally it just closed at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's bad for the kids' minds to think the water. Why is the water not frozen? They have to learn, and then they need their diploma, or they have to be fully grown before they can go swimming in below 32. So I don't know how cold it is now. The highway's not on, so I think all the emissions are settled. And at some point, we're supposed to get frost between midnight and sunrise. So it will be freezing. It will be 32 to get frost. It has to be 32. So at some point, As far as fire, I know it was a very controversial book. It was Fahrenheit, and I think it was 300 degrees. It's somewhere around 350 degrees is what paper burns at. And around the tobacco, this is what paper burns at. Paper burns at a very similar temperature as tobacco. So if you imagine paper is what Fahrenheit 300, 350, as far as a book, is very similar to a cigarette. So this would probably be about 300 degrees, 350, 400 degrees. You're putting in your mouth with 250 degrees while you're standing in one. Your hopes is to be about 32. And it's supposed to keep me comfortable, though. And besides that, I'm 25% Native American, so this is good for me. It's a spiritual sacrament. They call it religious substance, they call it tobacco, they call it a drug. It's not a Schedule 1 narcotic. It's an ages 18 plus unless it's given to you by family. Is this what? Or some kind of, legal, like a babysitter or something, but on a legal, like guardian. A guardian could give it to you if your family give it to you before, if you're used to it. And besides that, I'm a little bit simple in the eyes of the neighborhoods and the towns and the cities and stuff because they hadn't seen me take enough vacations, they hadn't seen me take enough money, and that's my permanent housing over there, 15 minutes away. If it's, they call it a permanent residence. That's your permanent residence, not that your great grandmother left it to your pop. That's just what they said. It's going to be my house forever. Won't be sold. You know, if it's about to, or condemned, or whatever, it'll be contested because it's been in the family since 1790 AD. The same blood tied lineage family since 1790 AD. Now, as far as they can tell, that's less than 20 years after the country was founded. Less than 20 years after coast to coast, Connecticut to California was proclaimed the United States in the eyes of the world. And within that first 20 years, my six generations back was living there, or it was his at least. What they said he bought back then was about a 10,000 square foot, which is what's there now, and in between, it may have turned into a very much larger space. But unfortunately, for the people that died, in my family and the people in the Underground Railroad on the way to Canada, we lost space because the state south of the Mason-Dixon line pressed charges. They said down there it's illegal, and they sent a bounty hunter out, and they torched the place, and then they filed a lawsuit on our fam, and we lost. And we wound up paying the state of Virginia like $1 million after selling acreage, and that was that. And so now we have a 10,000 square foot again, and at least it's still in the family. It's about where it was. It's with its 1840 garage, and you know what? It's going to be mine when my dad retires. As far as I'm saying, you know, that's that. So that was that, and I've been trying to show my hair, you know, and I've been trying to show my hair color, and got some of it inside. And bring this over here, kind of like see if we can get me near the light. Last time was like a sesame chick, old chunky, and then it's like a 10 foot pole. As far as their authority figures, you can see it's from everything. He hasn't checked in a while. Fine, fine, see, I don't know color anything like yak when I'm not looking, but I'm supposed to have decent color, like I'm not supposed to be flush all the time, you know? Ugh, you can't even see me from over there. See, it doesn't look bad when I look in my reflection. It's got something of it, but just Blanca, that's like, you know, that's snow, like, you know, few of the actually very many, actually, incredibly, like I said, it's based on a true story, it's based on nonfiction. The entertainment portions are entertaining and they're based on nonfiction, you know. As far as me, you know, it's like, I was on the Assumption radio show was Thunder Show 100, you know, it was 1 through 100. They did two corps came along, and they said, well, they really want to pay me, you know. So now it's a show 109, and it's got a bunch of stuff in it. It's like, okay, so I can talk about that. I wanted the tattoo project, right, on my back, you know. And as soon as I thought about that whole back thing, I thought I'd put a gothic last name on the front, gothic letters, Carlson, like kind of enlarged. And I want my first cat over here, Crystal, a Persian house cat, like aristocrats. You know, the little puppy thing, and the mommy's afraid it might have Down syndrome. You know, I had one like that, and she couldn't use her front feet either, and she got better. She got better. She was able to walk, and she didn't have Down syndrome very much until she was about 21 years old. So a Persian house cat over here, but kind of like a fluffy one, not a short hair, kind of like the kitten, you know, that was there. It's like, and then my first dog over here, his name was Samson, like Samson Occam, not like the Holy Bible, but Samson and Delilah or anything like that with the Grateful Dead and Sam, so with no P in the middle. And he's a black Labrador, except he had a white spot on his chest and he had a white paw. I don't know. So
So there's those two. And of course, what you're thinking is contemplating how is he going to fit a swastika on his pectoral when he has Carlson and Gothic and Arch. Well, you could put one of them World War II things instead of that weird neo-Nazi Sharpie doohickey says on the pick. Right over here says. And that one's still in the air. I know it's not going to get approved by FAM. But 50's close to, and what they said, he's going to retire and go to the other side of the planet, and Mom might be doing that before he does his thing. She wants to go to the other side of the planet. He wants to go to the other side of the planet. And if I'm going to be stuck by myself, fending for myself with nothing at all, because I ain't done crap and ain't ever gone to, and I'm not getting paid for the thumb up my bum in the corner, someone going to try and kill me. So I might as well man up or squat up, instead of moving along into some kind of strange ass Chimica concentration camp or something. And if they're not there to belt me out of autistic tendencies or something else in proverbial nature. Someone gonna try and kill me, and I have to, like, oh no, they're all like Paul Newman, like Norman Rockwell. It's like everything's fine till someone, if you're going to school and they hit you at school back in 1950s or between whenever the heck, you don't go home and tell your family your school teacher hit you, right? And if they hit you at home, and they hit you at home and they spank you at home or something like that, you don't tell your school teacher about your home life. You don't tell your home life, about your school teacher, and vice versa. Either way. Upbringing was different during Bush Senior, changed during Bill Clinton. You used to be able to smoke at McDonald's. You used to be able to light up a cigarette. You drink and drive with your Budweiser because you got grandfathered in for years and years. So you're drinking and driving with your Budweiser, and you walk right into McDonald's and you light up your pack of Marlboros, and you're not even buying hamburgers. And meanwhile, there's like 4-year-old kids sitting on Ronald McDonald the Clown, whether in plastic or in person. So, that changed during Bill Clinton. I've been keeping up with